Okay. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome everyone to Fit 5136 Software Engineering. And today we're going to talk about this is week two, and we're going to talk about requirement engineering. All right. I think the requirement engineering is a really important process as part of the software engineering. Without the requirement, we absolutely have no idea what to build. Okay. And it's the same if you want to build a house, but you don't know how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms that a client really wants. What kind of house that you are going to build, right? So it's really impossible. And yeah, this is week two. We just start the unit, okay? Requirement engineering. And just in case, if you really want to map where the requirement engineering really happens as part of the software development process, okay? So basically, it is happening at the beginning. Before you develop any software system, you need to elicit the requirement, break down, analyze the requirement, and break down everything into the work item, put them into the product backlog, okay? And normally, this kind of requirement engineering or activities, in the past, they are done by requirement engineer. But nowadays, people tend to call business analysts or like yeah product owner, that kind of thing. That's more like a new role nowadays. Okay, so right, requirement engineer do not really exist at the moment. Most of the companies tend to call it product owner, product manager, or business analyst. Okay, yep. Okay, so that's this activity actually happens at the beginning of the uh, software development process. Okay, let me set something. Yep. Okay. This is a quote by Fred Brooks. Okay, so they said that the hardest single part of building a software system is deciding precisely what to build. And surprisingly, this quote is the mantra. Yeah, it's the truth. We cannot even reject this one, right? And so that's why requirement engineering is really important. And then this week, this lecture, we're gonna dig deeper how to elicit the requirement. All right. But before we move on, we really need to know what exactly is a requirement, what is the definition, and how to engineer it. Okay, what exactly is the requirement engineering process or activities, right? And what types of the requirements that exist nowadays. There are different processes that we can elicit the requirement. There are different gathering techniques as well. So we're gonna learn about yeah all of these today. Okay. So what exactly is the requirement? Basically, we have a real world, we have a problem, and we need to elicit the requirement so that we can develop the software, or we can consider them as a solution that actually address a problem. All right. So there are many cases where we develop the solution that does not really address the problem or align with the real world needs. Okay, and that's the issue of the, how can I say, fail fail software projects, fail software development projects. Okay, because yeah, there's a mismatch between the solution and the human need. Okay, so that's why requirement engineering is really important. All right. All right, here we go. So basically, requirement is really a process of defining, documenting, maintaining the requirements, and it is part of the software engineering process. Last week, I mentioned about waterfall. Requirement engineering is the first step of the waterfall. Okay, so it is part of this. And it is a process to establish the services that a customer requires from a system and the constraint under which it operates and is developed. Okay, so yeah, we need to understand what is actually the client requirement in a more technical way and understand its limitation. Let me put this way: if you ask a CEO, okay, what kind of software do you want? I really want a software that can increase the revenues by 20%. What the hell is that? Do you get what I mean? Sometimes the clients have no idea what exactly is the requirement, And as a software engineers, we also don't know what to develop as well. And this is a common issue, okay? Sometimes customer, they have no idea what do they want. And it is really the requirement engineers to, ask lots of questions. Okay, can you tell me more? What exactly is the problem in your company? Why do you need to increase the revenues by 20%? What is the product that you are selling at the moment? Blah blah blah. Okay, so that's the process as part of the requirement engineering. And yeah, so when we develop the requirement, it is basically the descriptions of the system or the services or the constraint that we really not need to document it. Okay, the description or the features everyone knows, but the constraint could be, for example, okay, our system have to use the the two what is that double factor authentication only, okay, and connect with the Okta, not something else, that kind of thing, due to some privacy policy, blah blah blah, of the country. This is just an example, okay? That's a constraint. The system requirements also provided by the client are usually informal and brief, so the process of finding the detailed requirements of the system is actually called requirement engineering, okay? That's why I said, yeah, CEO want to increase the revenue by 20%, but it is really informal, it is really brief. The question is that how can we dig deeper or ask the clients in more details so that we know what do they really need. Okay, that's the key question. Okay, there are different types of the requirement here. Okay, so because in the software development projects there are different types of the stakeholder. Okay, that's why there are different types of the requirement. Sometimes the ultimate goal for the CEO or that's the business requirement. Our business objective is to increase the revenue by 20%, but what exactly is the, let's say we work at Coles, okay? And Coles have the mobile apps. Then from the user point of view, the customer point of view who use the Coles, was that online shopping mobile application, we need to dig deeper. What is the constraint? What is the limitations of the Coles mobile application at the moment so that we can, uh, develop a new feature and improve the revenue by 20%. You get my point? Okay. And there will be some system requirement as well. For example, yes, this core mobile apps should be available or compatible with the iPhone and the on Android operating system. This is an example. All right. That's a system requirement and work with some specific versions of the database. Okay. So in short, there are different types of the requirement, business requirement, user or the system, okay? Depending on the level, depending on the stakeholder, all right? And yeah, so basically for the business requirement, right? Normally we really want to know what is it that the business requires the system to do. If we take the Cole's mobile application, so probably the main goal of the Coles, right, is the retail sector. We really want to sell things, okay? Sell whatsoever in the through the online channel, not just like go to the in-store and buy something, okay? This is an example. That's a business goal. We want to sell stuff, okay, online. And from the user perspective, okay, as a user who use the mobile application, okay, Coles mobile application, what do I want? I want to know what are the products that are available, okay? And I really want to buy stuff. I want to check out, okay, make some payment. If I can get some, discount as much as possible, that would be great. And I want to know what is the discount campaign, what is the, yeah, whatsoever is half price this week, that kind of thing, okay? So we need some catalog, okay? Yep. And because there are different types of the requirement, and at the same time, requirements can be classified into the functional, non-functional, constraint, and some implementation requirement as well. So these are part of the system requirement, okay? So functional requirement basically describe what the product does. What the product does means that, okay, the Coles mobile application has a online what is that the cart, the shopping cart feature, has a product list feature, has blah blah blah. Okay, this is what the product does. But the non-functional means or means about the descriptions about how the product works. For example, the Kohl's online shopping application should have some two-factor authentication so that it is I mean the client or the end users can log in safely and securely. Okay, this is an example. Or um, as a as a blind person, I really want the Kohl's mobile application, the color scheme of the mobile application to support blind people. That's the like accessibility feature, that kind of thing. Okay. As an elderly, I really want a feature to enlarge the size, smaller the text, that kind of thing as well. Okay, so that I can read the the text in the application clearly. Okay. Yep. And there are some constraints as well. As I already mentioned, I don't need to repeat again. So question from the chat. With this kind of strategic lens of increased revenue by 20%, a lot of the time that can be done through building feature out. Software provides capabilities, but it needs to be activated through other functionalities of the organization. Exactly. For example, we build a feature, okay, software house, we work with a consultant, outsourcing company, they develop the feature for Kohl's, but if the marketing team didn't advertise that feature, it's really impossible that we're gonna increase the revenue by 20%. Who's gonna advertise the discount campaign? Seriously, okay? Thank you, you're correct. All right. So functional requirement, basically it describes the functionality of the software or system, right? It describes how the system should react to the particular inputs and how the system should behave in particular situations, okay? For example, if I purchase, can someone give me some example? Functional requirement, if I purchase let's think about the current campaign KitchenAid cookware. Okay, for every $20 purchase, I'm gonna get one KitchenAid credit. Okay, this is an example of the functional requirement. Or there should be a list of the products in the mobile app so that I can browse what the products are available and things like that. Yeah, blah blah blah. Okay, that's a functional requirement. Okay. Yeah. And yes, one of them, when the user look up for an item, the result should return in 0.5 seconds. I'm gonna explain a little bit more, okay? What is that? Whether it is functional or non-functional, all right? Okay, oh, sorry. I have a few more examples here. A user shall be able to search properties for all suburbs, okay? This is an example of the rental property application. Think about domain.com, .au, or real estate, right? I want to search for properties for rental, for buying, whatsoever. At the end of each month, the system shall generate a list of properties sold or rented. So this is could be a functional requirement from the landlord or the real estate agent perspective. All right. Each property agent shall be uniquely identified by his or her 8-digit employee number. Okay, so that's maybe the requirement from the ATO. Okay, yeah. However, most of the time, okay, requirements are imprecise. Requirements must and ideally requirements must not be ambiguous, incompleted, or inconsistent. Okay. What happens most of the time, problems often arise when functional requirements are not precisely stated, okay? And yeah, an example here, right? A user shall be able to search a property based on location. So the question here is that when we talk about the locations, are we talking about the suburb, the city, the street, the government area, city of Monash, or are we talking about the state level or the country level? Like what exactly is the location, right? So this kind of requirement is considered as ambiguous. All right. And if you look at this figure, right, sometimes clients say something, and as a business analyst or the product owner, they understand something else, right? And that's a mismatch, right? Like client wants like talk about horse, but when we elicit the requirement over time, it becomes something else. And when the product was built, then it is something else, like all over the place. Okay, this is a nightmare, and we should avoid as much as possible. All right. Okay. Question. Yeah. Does it mean that each functional requirement must be a function method of a class? Not really. Okay. There are different levels of the functional requirement. Not really that. I mean, it could be a feature. Okay. It could be how can I say? Functional requirement only describe or classify whether that requirement is about the functionality of the system or the non-functionality of the system. But it doesn't describe how to implement or the pseudocode of that function. Okay. In the week 4 Agile, I'm gonna talk about the details of when we develop a product. There are different levels of the description. One could be the vision, the goal, the epic, the work item, or the technical detail whatsoever. Okay, or the task or the issue or the bug, that kind of thing. So there are different levels of the description. So my point, okay, to answer your question, the functional requirement doesn't mean that it is the description of just one function. But I would say that this is a feature of the system, whether it is functional or non-functional. We need to talk about the feature level of the system. Okay. Yep. Okay. What is that? Yeah, so in short, right, the requirements should be complete, should be consistent and concise as well. Okay, that's the ideal scenarios. It should not be ambiguous. Okay, when I talk about this one, consistent, right? So it means that it should not conflict or contradict with each other. For example, in the one requirement we talk about the login feature. Oh yeah, the login feature should allow customer to use any Google account or to should allow the end user to use any uh, third-party authentication provider like Google, Twitter, things like that. But later on, maybe the requirement just say, yeah, allow only one, something like that. That's really conflicting. Okay. So when you develop the requirement or elicit the requirement, make sure that they are complete. It covers all of the function. It is detailed enough so that as a developers, we know how to implement it, and it should not contradict or conflict with each other. All right. On the other hand, okay, this is another type of the requirement we call non-functional requirement. Okay, so basically it is a specific criteria that can be used to judge the operations of the system rather than the behavior. Okay, we talk about the operations of the system, not the behavior. Okay, behavior, that's a feature of the system. Okay, so sometimes this is like the nitty gritty of the services or functions offered by the system, right? Or this requirement makes the quality of the system better. So that's the non-functional. For example, let's say we define how many customers are allowed to purchase items between 7 or 8 o'clock because that's a very high demand period, that kind of thing. So we determine that that's a constraint, okay, non-functional requirement. But does the numbers of the customer allowed here determine what the feature of the system? No, not really. It's just the non-functional aspect, okay? The system should respond or process the invoice or process the shopping cart or the payment within 1 second. That's the response time. Okay, but it's really not the feature of the mobile application. Okay, not the feature of the clothes shopping application. So this is really the what is that? Oh dear, VPN. Okay, the answer to Neo. Okay, so when we say that the when we purchase or browse the product, right, and then the search should return the results within 0.5 seconds. That's really the non-functional requirements. But if I say that as a end user, I really want to search what are the products that are available on sale at the moment. on the Coast mobile app. That's the feature, the functional requirement of the software system. Okay, make sense? Yeah, storage requirement, that's an implementation detail, I/O device capability, and blah, blah, blah. All right, that's really the non-functional requirement. Okay. So why the non-functional requirement is really important? Okay, it is so important because we develop the features, but if we don't define the non-functional requirement, maybe they are totally useless. Let's say I develop a calculator application. Okay, the calculator application has a feature addition, minus, subtraction, multiplication, division, whatsoever. But if I don't have the non-functional requirement, say that, yeah, the UI should be user-friendly and intuitive to understand so that the end users can, follow the natural thinking workflow. What I mean is that if we don't define that, right, and I just mess up the button of the calculator app, can we really use it? Yes, but is that something that end user really want? No. Do you get my point? Functional requirement, we talk about for the calculator application, we talk about addition, minus, subtraction, that kind of thing. That's a feature. But the UI itself, if it is not user friendly, if it is not intuitive, then no one is going to use it. Okay? Make sense, everyone? Maybe say yes something in the Zoom chat. I just want to highlight the difference between functional and the non-functional requirement. All right. Okay. And examples of the a few examples of the non-functional requirement. Okay. The property management system shall be available to all property agents during the normal working hours. Blah blah blah. Or yeah, that's the working hour period for the property agent, real estate agent. If the app or the system is down, then they lose the money. Okay. The downtime within the normal working hours shall not exceed 5 seconds in any one day. So that really determines the high availability of the system or the platform. Okay. Customer must authenticate themselves using their driver license. So basically it describes how the authentication should work or how it should connect with the third party provider, that kind of thing. Okay. But if we translate this one into the functional requirement, I would describe it as a customer, I want a login feature so that I can log in or access to the system safe and secure, blah blah blah. But how the authentication work, that's the non-functional requirement. Does it make sense? Okay. After receiving an inspection request, okay, that's a property. Okay, the system must acknowledge with a response email within 10 seconds. All right. Okay, so that's a 10 seconds response time. That's the non-functional requirement. Process requirements mandating a particular IDE programming language or development method. In some cases, client wants you to recommend if they are not sure. Okay, sometimes. Okay, process requirement here, it means the uh, I think this is I should not say process requirement. I would call it technical uh, co-development environment requirement. Okay, much better term. So as a developer, let's say you are a software house company, you work for a client may ask you that, okay, right now we use Oracle database. Please, when you design the database schema, try to follow the Oracle. Done. Okay, that's a technical requirement. Yep. And sometimes non-functional requirement must be implementable as well. Okay, don't go vague. For example, when I say, yeah, the UI should be user friendly. How user friendly is friendly? Okay, do you get my point? Sometimes it is vague, it is not implementable. Then I would consider as incomplete or ambiguous or imprecise. Make sense? But if I say that, yeah, the UI should follow a color, the following color schema, okay, the following sets of the colors, so that blind people or no, not blind, sorry. What is that? What is the right word? Yeah. Colorblind, yeah. People, right? Can read the website or access the website. Yeah. That's it. Okay. All right. So it should be implementable. Yeah. Let's do something fun. Okay. Poll everywhere. Everyone like it last time. Okay. Yep, yep, yep. All right. Activate and present. All right, there we go. Scan the QR code or go to the polev.com/fit5136 and let's do some poll activity together. Okay, so the first question is that what is the purpose of the requirement engineering? Today we have over 100 students attend, so let's aim for 80%. So I will wait until we get 80 response, all right? What is the purpose of the requirement engineering? I think to save time, okay? Let's achieve, let's get 50 response and then I'm gonna move on, all right? Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for your active participation. I really appreciate. Otherwise, the lecture will be very not excited. Okay. All right, let's see the response. I would say easy. D dog, all of the above. Have you get it right? Yeah, okay. So basically, requirement engineering is the whole process of the requirement. Okay. Develop the requirement, manage the requirement, or analyze the requirement as well. So everything across the board. Okay. Yeah. Analyze the requirement, functional or non-functional, manage the requirement. We need to prioritize and then how to develop the requirement. That's our requirement elicitation. I'm going to talk about that later as well. Okay. Next. Nope. Sorry. Sorry. Too many click. Okay. What is that? Which of the following is not the requirement elicitation? Wait a minute. Okay. Wait. Because I haven't talked about that one yet. Huh. Okay. Maybe let's resume. Maybe I jumped to the poll too early. Okay. Yeah. I should delete this. Okay. All right. Next step, I'm gonna talk about the requirement engineering process, right? Okay. So basically, it is really the process that used widely depending on the application domain and the generic activities. We start from the requirement elicitation, requirement analysis, requirement validation, and the requirement management. Okay. Why do we need to elicit the requirement? Elicit means like requirement gathering. We need to know what clients really want. Once we know what do they want, we analyze into whether it is functional or non-functional, or is that really about the technical, is that the feature, craft, refine is an ongoing process. It's not a one shot at all. Okay. Then we need to validate whether that requirement make any sense, right? We validate or develop some acceptance criteria. Okay, if this feature is implemented, how can we test or demonstrate that this feature is implemented correctly, successfully, and deliver to the customer or client. Okay. Requirement management. How do we know that? Let's say we have 1,000 requirement. How do we know that we actually implement everything? Have we test everything? Okay. It's a complex process, to be honest. All right. So in general, the first step, requirement elicitation and analysis. Okay. First, we need to discover the client requirements. Okay, so that's why this is called requirement elicitation or requirement gathering. There are different methods to gather or elicit the requirement. For example, interviews, surveys, talk to people, and things like that. Okay, and the step, right? We elicit the requirement, we get the initial requirement, we analyze and refine, extend, as I tell you before. Okay, so and the next question is that who is involved as part of the requirement elicitation? And the real answer is that everyone. Actually, not everyone, but in the requirement elicitation meeting, um, it is ideal to have a representative from different domain, different stakeholder, like as an end user, as a software engineer, as a project manager, domain expert, and everything. The reason is that when we elicit the requirement from the client, we need to know, okay, this is what end user want. Manager need to think whether we can prioritize or manage this kind of requirement within the given time frame or not. As a software engineers, they need to think, okay, how to implement it, whether it is implementable or not, right? As a domain expert, they're gonna check, okay, whether we are using the right technical term or not, and things like that. Okay, make sense? So in real world, requirement elicitation is not just only the business analyst, but everyone should be involved, refine, and come up with the product backlog. These are the things that we need to do together. Okay. Software development is a team ownership. It's not the individual ownership at all. Okay. Team ownership is everyone responsibility. Yeah. All right. So the first thing, okay, before we elicit the requirement, we need to know who is actually part of the project or part of the software system, who are our clients, and sometimes we call stakeholder identification. All right, we need to understand, okay, how can I say, it involves identifying, understanding, effectively engaging with individuals, groups, or organizations that have vested interest or stake in a project, blah, 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 okay? But in short, I think we need to know who are the stakeholder of the projects, okay, of this team, okay, of this system. And so once you identify the individuals or group, then you need to categorize into the levels, okay? Who are the primary stakeholder, who are the secondary stakeholder, or who are the external stakeholder, okay? And the primary stakeholders means that those are directly affected by the project. And the secondary, they are indirectly affected, and the external, they are outside of the organization. Let me give you an example, okay? If I develop a Coles mobile application, definitely the primary stakeholder, Coles end user, finance team, okay, legal, lawyer, tax, things like that. Okay, we need to create an invoice, how to design the receipt properly, how can we print things, record keeping, whatsoever. Who are the secondary stakeholders? I would say uh, flybys. Okay, or let's say if we have flybys, because flyby is not the main business for Coles. Okay, flyby just point collection. Okay, so that's another secondary business, right? When we develop a discount campaign, when we develop or have a new product available, does it affect flyby point collection or not? No. Okay, so flyby, I would consider it as a secondary stakeholder. Does it make sense, everyone? But question, who are the external stakeholders in this context? Can anyone give me some clue? Give an idea? Who are the external stakeholder? Random answer to the Zoom chat, please. Anything is okay. No, flyby already says secondary stakeholders. Okay. Who are the external stakeholder? No, not client. Client, I would say they are actually the primary users of the Coles application. They cannot even be the external stakeholders at all. Okay. Client supervisor, no, that's a manager, right? Manager have to be the primary stakeholder as part of the project, otherwise the project will fail. The external stakeholder here, I would consider, for example, let's say third-party payment provider. If I really want to connect to a PayPal, okay? If I allow PayPal as a payment option, okay, then I would consider PayPal as an external stakeholder. I develop whatsoever, but it does not affect the PayPal third-party provider at all. Does it make sense? That's really external. Is it part of the mobile app, the Coast application? Yes, but it's not really the main thing, the main business of Coast, okay? Because the payment option is just just a gateway, just an option, okay, to pay. Another external stakeholder, okay, who? Let me think. Let me think. Let me think. I don't know. Okay. Bank, yes. Okay. Bank, I would say correct. Okay. External stakeholder. Let's say by the end of the financial year, we need to develop the financial report. What are the requirements that the Coast mobile application need to comply with the bank? Okay. Or the ATO. Okay. No one knows, right? Okay. That these are the external stakeholder we may need to consider, but not the primary or it's not mandatory at all. Okay. Yeah. So anyone joins in this project can be called stakeholder. Yes, definitely. Um, so stakeholder, they are individuals or group, they are part of the project. Yes. But there are different types of the stakeholder. Primary stakeholder, secondary stakeholders, or the external stakeholders. All right. Yeah. Uh, okay. All good. All good. All good. What else? Then, okay. Let's do some case study together, right? Another question, regulators would be categorized as different levels of stakeholder based upon project, wouldn't they? Yes, correct. It really depends. Regulators, right? Let's say uh, if I for the Coast mobile application, right? Regulators, uh, I don't know. Okay, I cannot give a better example here. Let me think. For example, Australian Financial Association whatsoever, right? They may not need to be part of the project at all. These are the regulators, okay? Yeah. But in terms of the banking that actually do the business with the coast, then they need to be involved in maybe every step for the financial compliance, for the financial report, for the investor whatsoever. Okay. If I build $1 billion company, I will let you know. Okay. Unfortunately, I'm not a co-CEO. Okay, let's move on to the a case study here. Learning management system. Okay. The background, the context here is that Monash is a large, prestigious university. We plan to launch a new or implement a new model learning management system, right? To enhance teaching and learning. Okay, now we can talk. It's more aligned with our context, okay? So that, this kind of Moodle system, everyone use it. It is available for student and the faculty members academic to use, right? Okay, and the university decision to adopt the LMS is driven by the need for a more robust and integrated platform that can support online courses, blended learning, administrative functions. Stakeholder identification management are crucial to ensure the successful implementations of the LMS. The reason that I choose this one because a few years ago I partnered with the e-solution, and then I talked to them. Hey, can you give me an example about stakeholder identification, that kind of thing for the e-solution, okay, scenario? And they give me this one. What about the learning management system? Few years ago, they released an old version, which is where the UI is really, not user friendly, but now it's more modern and things like that. Okay, so question to everyone. Wow, no, sorry. Stakeholder identification. Okay, I hope everyone don't see it. Who are the primary stakeholder? Okay, for this Moodle at Monash University. Primary stakeholder. Give me an answer in the Zoom chat. You don't need to browse or look at the slide. Okay, go for it. Zoom chat. Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna pass that comment to the e-solution. Okay, I will not speak here because it is record recording. Okay, who is the primary stakeholder for the LMS? Hello? Hello? The e-solution? Yes, they are the dev person, the dev team. Yes, okay. And then who else? The stakeholder. Who use the system? Who use LMS? Student, definitely. Who else? Yeah, student and teachers, correct? Yeah. Academic staff, lecturers, tutors, yes, okay. Go for it. Yeah. Who else? Anyone else? Engineers, yes, software engineers, they need to implement the Monash UI whatsoever, okay? Okay, let's see the answer together, all right? Definitely, faculty members, we set up the course, set up the unit for the student to use, and the students are also the key stakeholder, primary stakeholder, because they are the end users of the LMS, right? So their input on the usability, accessibility, they are so important here, all right? IT department, that's the e-solution. They're gonna develop this LMS platform, okay? Uh, and admin staff, Monash Connect, they need to access the Moodle as well, just in case for the, what is that, SpecCon, the supplementary exam, the extension, whatsoever, right? This is really done by the Monash Connect, okay? And the LMS vendors, the Moodle development team, maybe they are part of the development project as well. So, for example, we faculty members say that, oh, we need this kind of feature, the e-solution maybe talk to the LMS vendor whether that kind of feature exists or not, and then they can coordinate and build a new feature, things like that. Okay, good. And stakeholders identification and management in the LMS implementation, they are so important, blah blah blah. That's why effective engagement with this kind of stakeholder, they are so important. Okay, done. Then the next step, right? What I really want to say more is that different stakeholders, they have different requirements. Okay. For example, as a faculty member, I don't care about how to access the content, but how should I manage the group or the cohort of the student, create the student group, student team, develop work on the rubrics, the submission, site system, develop the marking for the tutors. This is what they care, okay? But for the student, they care about, okay, how can I access the video recording? How can I access the PDF learning materials, homework, exercise, and things like that, right? Okay, different stakeholders have different needs. So that's why, as a business analyst, as a product owner, you need to ask, what do they really need? Okay, and different people have different need. Okay, so it's about the skill. Okay, and uh, what is that? The solution here, okay, is to obtain the initial information from the client. Why the user, no, sorry, why the student need LMS? Come up with the motivation, the values. Why the faculty need the LMS? Okay, so in the end, the LMS become like a platform for I mean to communicate between the faculty and the student, right? Okay, so that's why we need LMS. Imagine that one day we don't have LMS. How can I distribute the assignment? How can you actually access the materials? How can you access the Zoom lecture here? Okay, it's really difficult. Okay, so that's the point. Okay, and there are a few steps to determine, okay, what the client needs. Okay, first, you need to gain an understanding of the application domain. Okay, what domain, what context of the software application or the system that we are talking about. Like the LMS, this is really about the education sector. Okay, that's how we try to understand the domain. Okay, and the funny thing, different domain, they use the same wording but different meanings. All right, for example, education, we talk about lifelong learning, is about, okay, how can we create an ecosystem for the students so that they can learn like forever. Okay, but if you talk about the lifelong learning in the machine learning or AI, they are talking about how can we continuously train the AI models forever. Okay, same wording, different domains, different meaning. Okay, I just really want to make it clear. When you develop the or you elicit the requirement, you need to understand what sector you are talking about, what is the domain, what is the wording, the keywords that they use, right? And then you need to define, follow that norm, okay, of the company, of that domain. Okay. Then you need to understand the business model, understand the business process as well. Cost, what is that thing? The retail sector, what is that business? Sell stuff, okay? Done, okay? That's a business model. Then you're gonna use the business model to determine the client requirements. When we apply the agile values, right? Or the agile, no, sorry, apply the agile values. What it means that as a software engineer, you should not develop the feature for whatever that the client asks, but you need to know what is the values of that feature as well. So you are, motivated. Okay, you know the values. Oh, once I deliver this feature, how does it going to help the organization? Okay, let's imagine that we have a Coast mobile application. The most important feature that you develop is a login. Okay, does it really align with the business goal? No. Okay, what is the most important feature for the Coast application, Coast mobile application? Shopping cart. Okay, you have the list of the product, you have the shopping cart, you have the payment. That's the key goal, regardless of whoever log in. Do you get my point? Okay, that's a requirement prioritization. Okay, so you need to know, okay, the business model. All right, what is that? Then once you understand the domain, okay, the retail sector, you understand the business model, then you verify the business model with the requirement. Let's say if you come up with some requirement, okay, or you develop some requirement, but it does not really align with the business model at all, then is that the first priority that we're gonna ship by the end of next milestone or next quarter? Okay, it's really not needed, right? Okay. Okay, that's right. Or another example from student. So he said that most important feature for the real estate application is the map, right? Sometimes I agree, definitely agree. We have a listing, okay? The address is everywhere, but we really have no idea whether it is close to the school or not, whether it is that street is close to the train station or not, close to the shopping center or not. So that's why the map is really important rather than the listing. Definitely agree. Yes. Okay. But I doubt one day, okay, it's a dream, okay? If someone can develop it, that would be great. Why don't we have an AI feature? Okay, I want to find a properties around Malvern suburb that is close to the train station, Malvern train station. Here's the list, okay? If someone can develop it, that's another startup company, okay? Turn the natural text into a search queries on the real estate application. Okay. If you get rich, don't forget to share some to me as well. Okay, before we move on, what must the product be able to do? Okay, the misconception is that we fulfill the client full expectation. Instead, we as a software engineer should help the client realize what they need, okay, in a more technical and controllable way. Okay, so in real world, most of the time they have no idea what do they want, okay, and second, they don't know what do they need, okay, and we should not develop all of the features or fulfill everything that they need. But my point is that we need to prioritize, given this limited time frame, what we can deliver. Okay, I try to change the mindset, okay, rather than satisfy them for everything. But as a product leader, as a project leader, owner, you need to think about, given this amount of the time frame, the resources, the team that we have, what we can actually deliver. Just bring everyone to the realistic picture, okay? All right, okay. Any questions? Okay. Oh, all right, there we go. Any questions before I move on? Any questions? If no, that's okay. If yes, just let me know. Okay, there we go. Question number 2. Did I activate? Yes, okay. Which of the following is not the requirement elicitation technique? Why I have this question? I haven't start talking about that. Okay. Requirement gathering techniques. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, let's deactivate and then move back to this one. Okay, requirement gathering technique. So it seems that the poll should be at the end. Okay, yep. Yeah, I already okay, just a recap. I already mentioned about requirement elicitation technique. The first step, stakeholder identification. Who are the stakeholder as part of the project? Whether the stakeholder is primary, secondary, or the external, you need to know. Okay, then you can prioritize who to listen to. Okay, someone who give you money to develop the software, yes, definitely the primary stakeholder. Okay. And now we're going to talk about and what else. Yeah, I just want to emphasize that you need to understand the domain, understand the business model, and verify whether the requirement is aligned with the business model or not. Okay, this is what happens in real world scenarios. And the next step, how to elicit the requirement. There are a bunch of the techniques. Okay, for example, interviews, questionnaires, existing documentation, workshops, domain expert, direct observation, riding the trucks or prototype. I'm gonna go through one by one, okay? Different techniques have different strengths and weakness, but I'm gonna go through one by one, yeah. But all of these, the purpose is the same, to understand what the client needs, okay? Just different ways. Okay, first, interview. So there are two types of the interviews, okay? Closed-end questions require a specific answer, yes, no. Open-end questions, they are like very open question. Ask something like open, okay? Not like how do you do, okay? Not like that. But I'll give you more examples later, okay? There are two types of the interview, structured interview and the unstructured interview, okay? For example, structured interview, you already have some predefined sets of the questions that you plan to ask or interview a client or the stakeholder, okay? But at the same time, for the unstructured interview, questions are posed in response to the answer received. So you didn't you plan, like you have like one or two pre-planned questions, right? But you can come up with unstructured questions as well, or follow-up questions that are related to the answers. Okay. To give an example, do I have any example? No. An example, let's say I want to interview end user or customer here, okay? With some in a unstructured way. That means I have some set of the questions, one or two, and then I'm gonna dig deeper later on. Let's say I want to elicit the requirement about online shopping application, okay? And then I have two types of the question. Okay, as a user, why do they need the online shopping application? First, I ask about the motivation. Okay, what is the value? Why do they need? What is the problems or the concerns at the moment? Okay. Second, okay, let's start with the first one. Okay, let's say, okay, hello, Mr. A. So what questions do I tell you? I forget. Okay. What is the what kind of why do you need the online shopping application? Okay. A customer may say, oh yeah, I work from home. Sorry, I work full time. I don't have time to go to shoppings. Go to Kohl's in store to shopping at all. I work I need to go to the office. That's why I need an online shopping where during the lunchtime I can just browse what the products do I need. Once I purchase things, I can just pick up, click and collect later by 6 p.m. All done. That's a motivation. Okay. The problem is that, yeah, they need an online application because they cannot go to store. Okay. That's why they want to do the online shopping with the app instead, right? That's the motivation. Now we know the values. And then I may come up with another like follow-up questions. Okay. Once you uh, have a mobile application, you want to purchase thing, how do you want to pick it up? Okay. Do you want in-store or delivery option, that kind of thing? At that time, maybe they have no idea. And customer may say, yeah, sometimes I really want in-store pickup. Sometimes, I really want delivery. For example, during the weekend, I want to go to store at all. I just want to sleep at home, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now we have an option, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Make sense? Okay. That's an example. You have a predefined set of the question and then you ask a follow-up question. All right. Interview. Okay. Key aspects of the interview. Okay. You want to interview all of the stakeholder. Okay. And a stakeholder here mean any person that affect the system. Okay. The functionality of the system. And the key goal of the interview is to understand the business mission, how the success is measured. Okay. And understand the value chain. Value is really important. Why we develop software that no one uses it? Okay, what a waste of time. There we cannot even deliver any values. All right. Okay, we never develop the software that we need. We want to develop the software that other people need. Okay, so that they can use it. But the degree of need really depends on your skill. Okay, if you address the mass need, okay, massive need, it means that you're gonna create $1 billion company. That's it. Okay. Interview, you need to interview lots of stakeholder. Okay, the client, the CEO. Okay, I want to sell stuff. Okay, as an end user, I want to buy things. As an IT department, okay, what are the technology or platform that is available at the moment? Things like that. However, there are advantages and disadvantages. Okay, first, the advantages of the pros of the doing interview is that you create a first-hand impression of the business requirement. You understand like deep. Okay, you talk to them, you understand what do they need. You create bond or relationship with the customer. You have different personas and things like that. You get high response rate. Okay, can I schedule a call? What do you want? Okay, what problems do you have at the moment? Why do you need an online shopping application? Blah blah blah. You get response immediately. Ambiguities can be clarified immediately as well. Okay, what is that? I don't get what you mean. Can you repeat that again? Blah blah blah. Okay. And everything can be recorded. Okay, but the disadvantages is that you cannot interview million people. That's really impossible, right? So at interviews, the pros is very deep. You get the deep response. Okay, but the cons. Okay, disadvantages, it's not broad. Okay, do you get my point? Okay, you cannot interview million people. That's why if you want a broad answer or broad response, you need questionnaire. Questionnaire means that you develop a Google form, a set of questions, run the survey through the mailing list or whatsoever, community channel, Slack, LinkedIn, whatsoever. Okay, everyone, do you have any problems about using course online application at the moment? Tell me now, okay? And you're gonna win on a $50 raffle. This is an example of the questionnaire, survey, But the disadvantages is that you will achieve low response rate, okay? Sometimes the emails go to million people, you may get only 20 response, all right? Because not many people are willing to respond. Or sometimes the response is really noisy, random. They just really want to complete the response to win the raffle. That's it, okay? This is really the downside of the questionnaires, okay? And questions must be carefully prepared to make sure that you get the effective response as well. If you ask vague, you get vague answer. If you ask too deep, the answer may be like not understandable by the customer. Okay, make sense, everyone? This is another way to elicit the requirement as well, but through existing documentation. Okay. For example, let's say you review the government policy about uh, financial system, and then one day you found that, oh, there's a policy said that um, the database in the financial system should be what is that? Uh, should be something that requires blockchain. Okay, this is an example. And then you have an requirement now. Oh yeah, we need a blockchain to support the financial system. Blah blah blah. Okay, this is an example. Workshop. Okay, sometimes you can bring people together, run a workshop, elicit the requirement. Okay, but the downside is that everyone is busy. It's a bit hard to get the what is that the availability for many people into one single workshop, that kind of thing. Okay, there's a pros and cons. Okay, um, and sometimes, as I mentioned, sometimes it is very difficult to organize as well because of the availability and things like that. Um, Another option to interview, okay, is a direct observation. Okay, sometimes we should not just rely on the interviews or the workshop, okay, to understand the business processes, okay, or we need to look into what the process is, or you should get your hands dirty. Okay, for example, let's say if you want to dig the hole here. Okay, if you look at the picture, CEO, get the highest salary. Okay, 500K. He just sit down, okay, doing nothing, okay, and just talk some shit. Okay? CTO get a high salary as well, 220K, okay, doing nothing, just stand up, okay. And this kind of thing, this is an example. But the problem is that the senior programmer who get the lowest salary, okay, actually need to dig the hole and work for everything, okay, for the whole team. This is not really a great example, right? That's why, hey, senior programmer may say, do you know how hard it is for me to dig the hole? Someone, can you get the machine for me? And then CEO said, no, why do we need it? You just use your labor, okay? Use your hand. Two hands and dig it, okay? And senior, the programmer said, what the hell, okay? I have two hands. They are like, we need to dig like 1 kilometer, 1 square kilometer. How can I do that, right? Come and see how difficult it is, how deep that they need to do. So that's an example, right? Direct observation sometimes helps uh, the chief executive people to understand how difficult it is or what the process is, why it is so time consuming, what are the blockers and things like that. Okay, everyone will be aligned and share the same understanding. Okay, the last thing, okay, prototyping. This is really useful. I think last week I talked about the rapid prototyping before. Sometimes you define the requirement, okay? The app should have this kind of feature A, B, C, D. But how does it look like? No one really knows. The end users also have no idea. Software engineers also don't know as well how does the final product should look like, okay? So that's why the prototyping is also another way, an effective way to elicit the requirement as well. And what happened to my experience in the past is that, okay, sometimes they want like this in the initial requirement. The client tell me, okay, they want A, B, C, D. Let me develop a prototype, okay, and the next meeting, I just tell them, okay, let's assume that this is the final product. This is something that you want or not, okay? And they start have they already start clarify their mind, right? Like then the requirement will be much more complete, constructive, and detailed, okay? So rapid prototyping is really helpful. All right. However, there are some problems about the requirement elicitation as well. Sometimes the boundary of the system is really ill-defined, right? We have this kind of feature, blah, blah, blah. As I mentioned to you before, okay, the search should look into property search should look into the location, but the location is not ill-defined, then developers don't know what exactly is the location. Okay. Sometimes unnecessary design information may be given as well. Oh yeah, I want a property management system, but I think blockchain is a cool thing. Can you apply that blockchain technology as a database? Like for what? Sometimes that's why you need to validate whether that requirement is aligned with the business goal or not. Why do we need a blockchain database? Okay, for what reason? Stakeholders have incomplete understanding of their needs. This is very common. Stakeholders have poor understanding of computer capabilities and limitations. Okay, they don't know whether you're gonna use the Neo4j, PostgreSQL, or whatsoever, or Graph database, or no SQL database. Okay, they don't care. Sometimes they don't understand. It's your choice. Sometimes software engineers have poor knowledge about the problem domain as well. Okay. Stakeholders and software engineers speak different language, very common issues during the requirement elicitation. Obvious information is omitted. Sometimes you assume, oh, maybe they don't, maybe they need the two-factor authentication. But when we actually ask them, no, we don't need two-factor authentication. We really need the single sign-on authentication, SSO. Okay. So don't assume, okay? But you need to make every bit in the requirement really clear, okay? Different stakeholders may have conflicting views as well. So the question, how can you resolve a conflict, okay? Um, so my best suggestion, don't use the task as the goal, but you need to use the mission as the goal of the conversation. For example, here as an end user, I want this. You ask another person, another end user, no, I don't want that. I want another thing. Okay. That's a conflicting view, right? And then you need to come up with what is the goal. For example, right? Let me put the what is that? The property search as an example. One client wants a map. Another client want a listing. But the goal is the same, to search for the properties. Okay. Then we need to think about or resolve the conflict. Okay, both features align with the same goal. We want to search for the properties. So can we compromise? Can we have both features? Which one to deliver first? Another one can be delivered later or not? That kind of thing. You know my point, okay? So sometimes use the mission or the goal as a driven things, okay? And then and then the conflict can be resolved easily. Requirements are vague and untestable, such as user-friendly and robust. I told you before, as an end user, I really non-functional requirement. I really want an app to be very user-friendly. How user-friendly is friendly. Requirements are volatile and change over time. Okay. Woo. Okay. Let's go back to the. Oh, there we go. 1 second. Okay, so let's do the what is that? Poll. Okay, quiz activities together. Let me move to the next question. Okay, there we go. Everyone, go. Scan the QR code. Which of the following is not a requirement elicitation technique? Please. We need to get 100% correct answer. All right. Let's get 50 response and then we're gonna move on. And I just want to thank everyone again. Okay, we have over 100 students attend the Zoom lecture. This is really optional. It's not mandatory, but everyone still spare your time to attend the lectures. I try to make it engaged as much as possible. So I really appreciate everyone. Okay, really thank you. Yeah. 8 more response. Okay, from you, and then we're gonna move on. All right. 45. Just 5 more. Three more. Oh, someone changed their mind. Okay. You remove the answer? Oh, I decide not to answer anything. Okay. 3 more response, please. Okay, no one. That's okay. Okay, the answer here, right? Testing is not the part that I mentioned in the slide at all. Okay, and 81% of the students get the answer correct. Thank you very much. You're well done. Yeah. So the question, which one is not? Okay. All right. Next question. What is that? What is the difference between functional and the non-functional requirements? There we go. Functional requirement describe what the system should do. Do you see the full sentence of the answer or not in the poll everywhere? Somehow this one is cut. The sentence is cut. Okay. 35 responses. Go for it, everyone. This is first of all, this is your chance. Whether you get the answer correct or wrong, it doesn't matter at all. It's not marked. It does not impact your grade, but it only impacts your knowledge. Okay, whatever you learn here, you get it right or wrong, really depends on yourself. Okay, so try to leverage this opportunity to clarify your understanding as much as possible. All right. Okay, let's move on. What is the right answer? What is the difference between functional and the non-functional requirement? Functional requirement describe what the system should do. Functional requirement, how the system should do what the blah blah blah. Okay, I don't see the full response, full text. I need the full text here. Okay, let me double check. Functional requirement describe what the system should do, while the non-functional requirement describe how the system should do it. Correct. Okay, 69%, that's correct. Functional requirement describe how the system, no, that's wrong. Okay, functional requirement describe what the system should do, while non-functional is not about the why. Okay, it's not about the why. Non-functional requirement is not about the why here. All right, very good. 70%, okay, 69 of the student understand the lecture correctly. Beautiful. Next one, which of all right. Which of the following is not a characteristic of a good requirement? There we go. Is not, okay, this is not. Read the questions carefully. Okay. All right. I'm gonna pause now. Surprisingly, we have only 40 minutes left. We don't have much time. Let's move on. So yes, wait. is not a characteristics of the good requirement. Okay, that's correct. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Move on. What is the purpose of the stakeholder identification, everyone? What is the purpose? Okay, 35 responses so far. Can we have more? For those who join the Zoom lecture, okay, this is a poll everywhere activity. You just go to pollev.com/fit5136 and then, yeah, let's work on this kind of activity together. Enjoy. All right, so let's pause the poll now and see the response. All of the above, okay? No, not 100%. Geez, okay, don't worry. That's okay, that's okay. But the majority of you get the answers correctly, okay? Beautiful. All right, move on. Next, you're working on a startup. What is that? Software project. Oh, sorry. You're working on a small project for a small startup. The project involves developing a mobile application for managing customer orders. Who among the following is likely to be a primary stakeholder in this project? Oh, oh dear. Okay. All right. Tricky. Okay. You're working on a small project, software project for a small startup. Okay. Let's pause now and see the response. Okay. I will say this question is very tricky. Okay. Let's see the response. Okay. Some say CEO. Okay. Some say software developers working on the app. Some say customers who will use the app, okay, or some will say the local coffee shop, okay, where the startup is based, okay. Actually, the real answer to this question, okay, is, I mean, it could be both, okay, but the real primary stakeholder is the CEO of the startup, okay, because you are working on a software project for a small startup. No matter what the project is, who is the project owner, okay, who are actually the funder, who actually give you the money to develop that software project, the small startup. So who has the highest voice in the project here? The CEO. Am I correct? Okay. And it's not really about the local coffee shop at all, because it doesn't say that we're gonna develop an app for the coffee shop, okay? Or if I just develop the app at a coffee shop, it doesn't mean that they are my stakeholder as well. So it's not really part of the project, okay? Customer who will use the app, I'm not really sure that they are the primary stakeholder or not, because the small startup really want to develop a mobile app for managing the customer orders, okay? So customer orders, let's say you are a startup company, you develop an app, think about Uber Eats app, okay, to manage the customer orders. Whether yourself, you order food, okay, what kind of food you order, it doesn't matter. But as a startup, I really want to develop the system for the restaurant to manage the customer order, whether this order is being prepared or it has been delivered or it is pending. Does it make sense? So customer who use the app, they are not really the primary stakeholder here, but the person or the people who actually use that app, think about the restaurant manager. That's the primary stakeholder, right? Okay. Software developers working on the app, not really as well, because you are the software house, okay? You work on a software project for a small startup, okay? That's why software developers, you just listen to what do they want, okay? You are not really part of the providing the requirements. Make sense? Okay, everyone. Any questions about this one? That's why I said it is really tricky. Yep. But based on my explanation, is it clear to everyone? Can someone say yes in the Zoom chat? Okay, thank you. Then I'm gonna move on. All right. Okay, another case study. You are working on a project to develop a new feature for an existing software product. Who among the following is likely to be a primary stakeholder for this project? Okay. Okay. So the answer to the previous question is the CEO of the startup. Okay. Okay. But for this question, what is the answer? Let's read carefully. You are working on a project to develop a new feature. Okay, you can read yourself. Okay. 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 I think I know the answer now. All right. Okay. 43 respond. Let's lock it and see the answer. All right. What is that? Customer who use the existing product. Everyone, thank you. Okay. Actually, I have a soundboard. Next time I need to, press a button with a clapping sound. Okay. Next time. Yeah. Correct. Okay. You are developing a new feature for an existing software product. Who is actually the end users of that software product? The customer who use that product. Okay. That's all. So we need to know, right? What is their pain so that you can come up with a new feature. That's it. Okay. The developers working on a new feature, not really, because you develop the feature. You don't need to listen to yourself. You need to listen to the customer. Tester, not really the primary stakeholder as well. CEO of the company, not really, because you it's unclear what company as well. Okay. You're focusing on the existing software product. All right. Please explain question. Please explain how this example is different from the previous example. Okay. This example, you develop a new feature for an existing product. Let's say, I develop, what is that? I develop a new feature for, for what? For, let's say, uh, let's say you have the service with government service application. Think about that. Okay, that's an existing product, and then you want to develop a new feature for that product. Okay, for the service app with golf, something like that. Who is actually the primary stakeholder or the end users of that product? The customer who use the service with golf.au, something like that. Make sense? That's the primary stakeholder that you need to listen to. Okay, what is the pain? I log in, nothing is loading at all, that kind of thing. Okay, so you said that we develop a feature for an existing product. The product already exists and belongs to a company. The head of the company has the highest decision power, so shouldn't be the primary stakeholder. um, I would say it really depends. All right. Okay, it really depends. The previous example, yes, you're working on some project for the small startup, okay, not a project. So let's assume that, how can I say, think about this is a like new feature on the existing software product. Think about the Coast mobile app, right? Does the CEO of Coast really care how the feature of the product should look like, or they care more about the revenue? Does it make sense? The clients or end users really use the Coast application, so they care the most. That's the where we as a software engineers should care the most, how the end user actually use the Coast application. Okay. Yeah. Yes, the CEO should care. Yes, but okay. Well, yeah, I can keep it as another correct answer. That's totally fine. Okay. But my point, what I really want to clarify here is that for these scenarios, when we say we develop a software project for a small startup, it means that they actually provide the requirement. Okay. Does it make sense? Yeah. Maybe I'll treat the case here is tricky. Okay, there might be different answers, but I would say that the optimal answer for this question, okay, should be the CEO of the startup, because the CEO of the startup asks you to develop a software project, right? Okay, this one is clear. But for this one, the product itself, Coast mobile application, already exists. I understand CEO need to care about their app as well, but in real world scenarios, CEO cares about something else, not about their cost. Okay, CEO need to look after the revenue whatsoever. Okay, they don't look into the discount campaign. Does it make sense? So that's why in real world, okay, if the product is from a small company, maybe CEO cares. But let's say if the product is from a large scale company, yeah, normally the primary stakeholder here that the developers need to listen to is the customer who use the existing product. Okay, we can discuss more detail later as well, but because of the time, let's move on. All right. Okay, next, what is the requirement elicitation? All right, everyone. Okay, what is requirement elicitation? Okay, this question is easy. I Let's see the answer. Okay, the response. Yes, the process of gathering, analyzing, documenting requirements from stakeholder. That's part of the elicitation. Okay, well done, everyone. Let's move on to the next question. Yep, instruction. Who are the stakeholders in requirement elicitation? Stakeholders here means that both primary, I mean, it could be primary, it could be secondary, it could be whatsoever. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Three, two, one. I'm gonna lock now and see the response. I think it should be all. Okay. Choice D. Okay. It's not just only the end user, it's not just only the project manager, but it should be all individuals or group who have vested interest in the project. Okay. Yep. All right. Next, which of the following is a characteristics of the functional requirement? All right. There we go. Functional requirement. I hope to get the 100% correct answer. All right, let's lock the poll and see the response. Okay. Choice A, clearly. It describes what the system should do. 97%. Well done, everyone. Okay. I treat it as 100. Okay. Performance of the system is really about the behavior, and it will be considered as a non-functional requirement. All right. Okay. Next, yep. Which of the following is a characteristics of the non-functional requirement? Okay. Okay. Pretty clear. Which one? Okay. Can have a few more response and then I'm gonna lock the questions and then move on. All right. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. There we go. Response. Okay. What is the choice here? Yes. System performance and usability. That's non-functional requirement describe the behavior of the system, how the system should behave. It should perform, okay, with blah 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 latency. It should be usable, user-friendly, whatsoever, blah blah blah. Okay, so that's the non-functional requirement. Measurable, quantifiable. I would say that it is the quality aspects of the requirement, but it doesn't mean that it is functional or non-functional. Does it make sense? The good requirement should be measurable, not really measurable, but quantifiable. It's just the quality of the requirement for some certain. Okay. Okay. But the right answer here to this question is the system performance and the usability. Okay. There we go. Next one. Which of the following is an example of a functional requirement? Okay. Easy, easy, easy. Okay. A few more response and then I'm gonna log in 3, 2, 1. Okay. There we go. I think the response choice D. Please. Doom. Okay. 70%, nearly 68. Okay. The system should be efficient. That's really non-functional. It's about the efficiencies of the system. And surprisingly, efficient here, it is unclear as well, like how efficient is considered as efficient. Okay. The system should have a user-friendly interface. Again, this is really vague requirement in terms of the quality, and it is really about the non-functional requirement. The system should be compatible with multiple browser. That's how it should behave. It should be compatible. That's a non-functional requirement. But the answer to this question, which one is the functional requirement? That's generate the report in PDF format. Okay, that's the correct answer. Very good. Okay, everyone. What else? What's next? 12, 13. Okay. Which of the following is an example of the non-functional requirement? Now, okay, for everyone. this question is tricky, okay? Tricky again, okay? But let's lock the poll and see the response together. I would say that there are multiple answers to this question. Personally, I would choose A and B, okay? A is really about uh, the high availability of the system. That's how the system should behave. So that means it should handle 1,000 concurrent users. Okay, that's a valid answer. But at the same time, right, it's about the failure recovery. When a system is failed, it should recover from a failure within 5 minutes. That's the behavior of the system as well. So A and B is actually correct. Okay. C, the system should be able to process transactions in real time. I would say yes as well. Okay, the C is also correct. Okay, C is also correct. The system should be able to generate reports in less than 10 seconds. Technically, I would say yes as well. Okay. But let's see the response. Yeah, it's all correct. Okay. Yeah, it's all correct. Okay. Yeah, no worries. There we go. Next question. Which of the following is a characteristics of both functional and non-functional requirements? Nope. Okay. Yep. Which of the following is a characteristics of both functional and non-functional requirement? Mm. Mm. Okay. This one has only one answer. Yeah, this one has only one answer. Okay. Let's no, I need to go to the question 14. Okay, 14. Okay, let's lock the poll. Which of the following is a characteristics of both functional and non-functional requirement? Characteristic here is like high quality requirement, okay? And the only answer is C, measurable and quantifiable, okay? So there are concerns about the system performance and reliability. Not really, okay, not really, okay. Performance and reliability. Reliability is the non-functional requirement. They're concerned with the system behavior. That's a system behavior, only non-functional, but not both, okay. They are related to the UI. That's really non-functional, but not functional. They are measurable and quantifiable. Maybe they are applicable for both, okay. Yeah, all right. But yeah, okay. Any questions? Okay, let me go back to a few more slides. Okay, I actually forget. So when we develop the requirement specific in the past during the waterfall model, okay, they need to develop the requirement specification document, and it is very long, very tedious. It details everything, right? And this is a high level structures of the common requirements software requirement specification. For example, it describes what is the purpose of the system, what is the document in a convention, the terminologies that we're going to use, who are the intent audience of this document. Then we start talking about the product, overall descriptions of the product. Okay, what is the product perspective? What is the product features? These are the feature. What is the use cases? How the system should be used in what environment whatsoever. Okay, how do we decide and implement? Are there any constraint or not, and things like that. Okay, this is a very detailed software requirement specification that we use in the past especially like waterfall model. But nowadays we tend to move towards agile. It doesn't need to be like extremely detailed, okay? But at the same time, it doesn't mean that we don't need to write everything, okay? Imagine that you use agile and then you use agile and then you don't write any work item, you don't provide enough description. Who's gonna implement that feature? No one understand. Make sense? So what you need is just enough documentation for the agile methodology. All right, okay, this is the final takeaway message that I really want to give to everyone. Okay, uh yeah, that's a requirement. So okay, final thing, okay, software requirement specification. This is like a checklist to determine the quality of the requirement, whether it is correct or not, whether it is ambiguous or not. It has to be checked, all of this, okay? This is like I already mentioned already, okay? So next question for everyone, folks, before we finish the lecture, okay? Present. Oh dear. Restart again. Okay. One question, everyone. Just go to Poll Everywhere, pollev.com. Okay, slash fit5136. And yep, there we go. How do you feel about the lecture today? Okay, please let me know a little bit. And then once you finish or put the red thing, and then yeah, we're gonna wrap up the lecture. Okay. Oh, sorry. There we go. Okay. Thank you. Thank you everyone for your participation, and yeah, looking forward to seeing everyone again next week. And next week we're gonna talk about the requirement analysis, and the week after will be about the agile software development. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. See you. Yeah. Bye bye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.